I
Ryan, thank you so much for being here.
appreciate you having me.
You faced significant challenges during your early years, including dyslexia and bullying. How did these experiences shape your resilience and drive in your later life and career?
I think when I was younger, I didn't know how to handle things like that. You get picked on because you didn't read well or this and that. And for a long time, I'd run. I'd try to be a chameleon. I try to mimic other people. The negative impact of it was the fact that I was always trying to do things, get out of myself and fit in with other people. And oftentimes that led to, when I got older, drug and alcohol abuse. But it also, when I found it, it forced me to find something I was good at, because when I found something I was good at, I was like, wow, I'm good at this. I'm going to double down. I always tell people, say, always work on your weaknesses, work on your weaknesses, but double down on your strengths. You know what I mean? If you are good at something, get stronger at it. And if things you're not good at, don't worry about learning. Have somebody coach you on it. You know what I mean? There's a lot I don't know. I go to people to learn.
I love that. And you need to embrace who you are because if you're friends to everyone, you're a foe to yourself. And
I
that's
like
going
that.
to lead your existence full of grief and sadness. So you mentioned that
Well,
you have some talents. What those talents were and how did you develop them?
uh, some of them were natural traits that I cultivated. I'm grit. I always say I'm one of the grittiest mother you're gonna meet. I used to joke around, you throw me the wolves, you better pray for those wolves because I won't give up. It doesn't mean I'm the strongest, the smartest. The one thing is I won't fall. There have been times I've been this close to suicide and given up, but there's just that one thing that makes me hold on. That says, you know what? Don't give up. Don't fold. And I've been lucky enough to cling to that a lot of my life, and it's paid off. I'm pretty talented with finance. I'm pretty good at income planning, retirement planning. When I was young, I was really good with stocks. As I've gotten older, I've got away from that game. Uh, I think I'm really good with people. One of the greatest gifts I have is the ability to connect and the ability to have a presence. And I will tell you, it's funny. I was talking to my cousin today about a guy who brought me into the business I'm in. He used to be the vice principal of my school, and when I was a young kid, because his kid went there, he wanted to keep an eye on him. And this guy walked in a room, and your back would be to him, but you knew he was there. And he just had presence. He dressed well. He was always neat. And I learned a lot from him. And he said to me one day, I'm going to teach you how to have presence to get in front of a room and own it. And I said, no, not me, not me. I was so shy and awkward and nervous. Even when I got older, I got in better shape and I looked all right. I still was like, I just wasn't okay with me. And then one day when I got sober, I took all the characteristics he tried teaching me. And I said, you know what? And I'll be honest, I walk into a room and people know what's up. And it's not about money or looks or any of that crap. It's about, I'm okay with me. Like I always say, if this relationship's right, this relationship's right. If I'm good with God and the universe, everything else will fall into place.
I love that. It's about embracing yourself instead of fighting yourself because if you fight yourself, the universe will think that's what you want and will give you more of that. How did you cultivate that?
It's funny. At first, it was emulating what he did. I watched this guy, watched how he carried himself, I watched how he spoke to people. I watched, and then when I got sober, there was a guy who came into my life. Same thing. This guy used to drink like me, drug like me, and fight like me. And he was big and muscle guy. And then he would see people, like, hey, how you doing? So I learned from these guys who had power in one form or another, whether it was success in business or strength and muscle. Yet they were kind to people, and that was a superpower to me. Anybody can be tough and be a bully. Like the old me, I could be tough and put a knife in you. Or anybody can be a pushover and be nice. Like the old me years ago, I would just want to appease you and you can do whatever you want. But very few people can feel right with themselves, strong, confident, and then still be kind and gentle. And that was something I learned. Honestly, I didn't come up with this. I just looked at guys, I saw traits I wanted. I said, how can I cultivate that in me? And it was a combination of watching what they did and then finding out who I was and trying to align the
Mm.
two.
Anxiety is loud, but confidence is silent. How important do you think mentorship and early encouragement are in guiding young people toward their potential?
Oh God, it's without a doubt, the most important thing in this world is mentorship and guidance. People say to me, you coach people. I coach some big guys in this business that I'm in, and I make great money. I make more of them than sometimes I'll make in my whole business all month. But I also coach other guys that make nothing on it. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because it's important to be a mentor. Because at one point I had nothing to give somebody else and they gave it freely to me. I'm a big believer. I tell people all the time, you need help, any way, shape, or form, reach out to me. If I can do it, I will do it. I will guide you. I will share with you any experience I have, any experience, strength, and hope. And if I don't have it, then I'll tell you, hey, I have no idea. There's a lot. I was just on the phone with a friend of mine. He's my cousin. We were talking about a situation. I said, I can give advice on this I have no clue about.
For those that are listening, can you share more light? What is your business and what is your coaching as well?
So my business is financial services. I do retirement income planning for people. So basically, people work their whole life and save retirement money in the US. They call them 401ks, IRAs. I'm not sure if it's the same around the world, but that's what it is here. And my job is helping take some of that money and turn it into income, whatever they need to create the income they need, like almost like a pension, because pensions have gone away. Like overseas, a lot of countries give you pensions. And the United States, they're gone. They're almost obsolete. So that's what my financial business, my coaching business, I do a number of things. One, business coaching, how to get to the next level. Because people say, how do you go from being a homeless heroin addict who went to jail to being the top 0.01% of your industry? Like, how that doesn't happen. And my answer is, it's God in the universe. Once I lined up with who I was supposed to be, the doors open. But it wasn't me forcing. I always say you had to push things, make things happen. You don't make things happen. Things
Yeah.
just fall into place. And
Yeah.
I coach guys who are going through midlife crisis. Like I went through a midlife crisis. One week I bought a Rottweiler and a Ferrari the same week. That's a midlife crisis. I had no business buying either. Guys going through divorce. I'm going through divorce. I know what it's like, the pain, like not seeing kids enough. Guys go through drug addiction. I have a PhD in drugs almost. I've done so many drugs over my life. And I can share what I've done well and what I haven't done well. And I think that's made it attractive to some guys because they feel like, hey, here's a guy who's doing really well, seems to have his stuff together. He's pretty happy with his life, business good, stays in shape, good relationship with his daughter, and has peace. But yet he was in hell a few years back. Like, how does he do it? And that's how I hired my first coach. I said, how did that guy do it? Because he's happy and he was where I was. What are you doing?
I like the quote, when God created light, did he try to create the light? Did he was struggling to create light? No, he just said, let there be light, and light it was. I think sometimes it's about unbecoming who we think we are to allow what we truly are shine through. You mentioned your story about addiction, which is incredibly powerful. How did it started and how did this journey to addiction influence the way you approach challenges right now?
If I'm honest, it started when I was a kid. I had so many fears and anxieties, so many. And I think a lot of it was that my mother really drove me and said, you got to be financially successful. My mother was a housekeeper. And she drove me, you got to be financially successful. You got to do this, you got to do that. And I felt a lot of pressure to go out and make money. And I think that was hard. When you're a young kid in your seventh grade, you have a talent with, at that age, they discovered I was good with numbers and finance. So I was getting all this publicity about, I was on TV about being able to be trading stock. I was still a seventh grade kid. I just want to be a kid, but I got all this pressure. Hey, you've got a talent, you can make money. So the pressure built. And I was in magazines called the Whiz Kid Wall Street. And that stuff, that builds pressure on you. When you're called, when you get that kind of label, people think it's success. It is, but it comes with a heavy burden. And by college, everybody else is living the college experience. And I'm working full time and having success financially. And there was just all kinds of pressure. And then when I discovered drinking would take, I didn't drink much in high school. But when I realized drinking would take away my anxiety, I drank more and I hung out with older guys and I was in the business with older guys. And the guy I used to love to look up to and emulate, he was a big drinker. And he could drink. He didn't screw up his life. I drank. And then at one point I had some medical stuff. I tried opioids, Percocet, Oxycontin. And then I found relief. And I remember when I first did drugs, it wasn't a problem. It was a solution. I felt good. I felt at peace. I was better at my job because I was more attentive. I liked being in client meetings because I didn't mind hearing any kind of nonsense people rattled off because I was just high and enjoying it. And then that thing that gave me relief and made me stronger and better and good looking, dated faster girls, had faster cars, it came back like a boomerang and it cut my head off. It took everything I had. I get no confidence. I couldn't work. I had needles in my arms. But it all stemmed from anxiety. There was some kind of inner turmoil. I believe that I was pushed a little too hard to have financial success. I'm not saying that's the case, but it was something to that effect, some pressure.
Yeah, you mentioned that you also have this don't give attitude, and sooner or later, forms that are rigid will break. Could you tell us, since you have been through so many challenges and you have been able to overcome those personal challenges, what advice would you give to someone struggling to break a destructive habit and replace it with a positive one?
First advice I would give it is a sick mind can't cure a sick mind. You're not going to think your way out of it, no matter what's going on in your life. I don't care if it's drugs, alcohol, workaholic. divorce coming up. You need an outside perspective. And so you got to find somebody who you really look up to, whether it's you hire a coach, you value their feedback. I always have a coach. Right now, I still have a coach. People say, why do you have a coach? You make 7 figures a year. Like, you own a couple of businesses. I go, it's not about money. But you're a good dad. Yeah, it's not about that. You eat well and take care of yourself. Yeah, it's not about that. It's about that I can do all those things because I have somebody to guide me. That's what it's about. Is the fact that because I couldn't do all those myself. I can be good at working out. I can be good at working. Or I can do both those, but then be a shitty father. But if I'm going to balance all those, I need somebody to give me some outside perspective sometimes. So get outside perspective. And also, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. You can't do it. You can't, we can. If you're in pain and you're suffering any kind of thing, and believe me, I'm not saying I'm the right fit or I have the answers, but I will say this. Nobody walks into the woods 5 miles out alone. And if they do, it takes them so goddamn long that they're 70 years old and they realize, geez, I wasted my life. If you get somebody to guide you, they're like a tour guide. They've already done that path. So it might be 5 miles in, 5 miles out, but it took you 3 hours to get in, 10 minutes to get out. With the right people around you, I think that's what 90% of my success stems from, is having the right people around me. Honestly, very little to do with me.
So ego takes a backseat while the soul bravely takes charge in life.
Ego took a front seat for a long time. If you asked who I was, I would let you know what I made, what I drove, what was this and that, what my businesses were. Truth is, I'm not that unique. I tell people, if I can do it, anybody can do it. The one thing I've done is I've been able to basically take all these pieces that I've learned from different people that I look up to, tie it together, and that's enabled me to have success. And that's what I share. I tell people, most of the ideas I share, it's all plagiarizing. You're never going to hear a new idea.
Do you engage with any spiritual practices that influence your business decision and personal life that allows the ego to actually take the backseat?
Yeah, I do every day. I don't know how people wouldn't. I start my day with prayer. I do a little journaling. I meditate. I try, before a client comes in, I say a prayer for them. I say, God, let me be a service to these people while growing our business, put my selfish side aside. I try to do what I have to be of service to people. And I try to bring something great. I don't know if it's supposed to be called God or spirit of the universe. I don't know what the hell to call it. I was raised Catholic, so you always called it God, but I can't really define exactly what it is, but there's something greater that I know when I tap into it, I'm a better version of myself.
I believe that we are all sparks of this great soul that is using us as its vessel to experience itself. So it's not always about the goal, but about the journey to the goal. And if you
Absolutely.
see the life as a journey, you don't really want to be the first one on the finish line, because that would mean your life is about to end. And
I like that you said that. That was really profound because you know what it is? I lose sight of that sometimes. Like I'll give you an example. I always thought when I was getting on my feet again after being in jail and being broke, I was say, if I ever could make this much money, I'd be okay. If I ever built a house, I'd feel really good with a pool in my yard. If I ever paid that house off, if I ever had this much in the bank, you know what? I hit every goal I wanted and I never felt good. I remember pulling into my house. I was sitting in the driveway, not even in the garage. I was in my dream car, looking at my dream house with no mortgage, my kid inside, my ex-wife at the time. And I'm thinking, why is this all there is? Why do I want to blow my brains out? Because I was trying to hit a goal. Goals don't work. Longing to enhance who you are. I mean, yeah, you got to have some goals, but your goals should really be like how you grow on the way. If I do this, for example, I have a goal next year I want to do with the business. And if we hit that goal, I'm going to try to donate 150 grand. I'll set these goals with a purpose in mind. But if the goal is self-centered or self-seeking, it's empty. And even when you achieve it, it's even more empty. At least while you're fighting for it, you think there's something there, but once you get there, it's an empty. Chasing certain goals, it's like chasing a ghost. It really is about the journey. It's about the day-to-day process. Like I always say this, it's the blocking and tackling. I wasn't a football player. But I'll tell you this, when I go in the gym, I'm not worried about finishing my workout. I'm in that set, I'm squeezing. And I'm not even in great shape anymore, but I squeeze the muscle. I feel myself right there. When I'm in a client meeting, boom, I'm there. When I'm presenting in front of a room to potential clients, I'm there. When I'm coaching guys in front of a room or motivational speaking, I'm there. And when I'm there, I'm not worried about money or anything else. I'm just there. And that's the gift for me is when I'm there. Because the other stuff follows if you're doing it that way.
it seems to me that you're highly referring to something that is called the flow state, that allows you to achieve things effortlessly once you're in that state. Is this something that you refer to?
Yeah, so it's funny. So you know how my business is called Cracking the Code, my coaching business. You see the picture of the padlock, and there's 4 numbers that you line up. When you have one of those locks, you line up the numbers. I always say successful people can get 2 out of the 4 right every day. Like, you might be a great dad or a great business person or a great business person and work out. If you're really in the zone, you'll get 3 out of the 4. And if you're a superstar at what you do, you might have, like, once a month, you might get in that 4th lock, not the number, and that's flow state to me. And I tell people this, my job is to help guys that consistently get in the 3s to get the 4s a little more. Doesn't mean I'm getting them 4 every day, but if you're getting the 4 every 2 months, let's try to do it every month. Let's try to do it every 2 weeks. It's about staying at the next level. That comes, in my experience, that only comes from quieting the mind, letting go of goals, letting go of attachment, doing some breathing exercises, getting
Mm.
present with where your head, where your feet are, and then taking the next step. And when you do that, you're successful. But when you're sitting there, when I'm amped up and I'm talking fast, what happens is I'm losing all of it. I'm not in the moment. I'm not present. And I'm sure as hell not having an impact.
I agree. And most importantly, it seems that this is a grind then that you really force yourself and this create friction between you and everything else. And friction causes eventually to a burnout. Now, I understand myself the importance of the flow state, but I also do understand that there is a need to prepare before any high stakes moment. Do you think as well? And if so, what is your process to prepare for any high stake business opportunities?
So it's funny. I early in my career, high stakes changes as you get older, right? As your business grows. Give you an example. This week I had 3 cases I was taking on, all of which the revenue was probably 40, 50 grand. But they were all high stake pressure cases. And I started doing some breathing. I started thinking, I got a little anxious on one of them. 2 of them were just going to fall into place. I knew it. And then I realized something. I'm like, hey, you know what? I've got enough in the bank that if it doesn't go well, I'm fine. If it goes well, I'm fine. How can I be of service? Like, how can I be of service? Like, one of the coaching clients I took on this week, I knew it was a $250,000 job over the year. It's a lot of money. It's 20 grand a month to coach somebody 1 hour a week. And I thought to myself, how do I make sure I add that value? And then I thought to myself, this isn't about me. If I go in there, like, let's say I go on there and I sell this guy and I say, you should do how you fit this and this. What if he hires me? I'm not the right person. I'm going to step out of the way. I said a quick prayer. I said, God, do for me what I can't do for myself. Just stay the way. If we're meant to work together, let it go. Took a deep breath and meditated. 5 minutes into the Zoom, I said, I want to hire you. I'll sign the contract. I said, you know what? I prayed on it and I said, rather than you sign a contract for the 250, why don't we do this? Why don't we do the 20,000 and change a month? And we'll do it month to month. And if you keep seeing the value and you're happy, I'm happy. We'll keep going. There's no reason in the world you have to sign a $250,000 contract and decide, because what if you're not happy? And he said, but I'm going to be happy, I'm sure. And I said, listen, I promise you, I give you my word. I'm not going to cut you loose if I get a bad deal, if I get too many clients. You can have me every month for the next 12 months. Let's just do it month to month. And he was shocked. He's like, you don't want the money? I'm like, no, it's not that I don't want the money. It's that I'm not going to take it all at once until I feel like it's right. I don't want the pressure of making it happen. I want it to unfold. And he understood that. And he was kind of like, wow, like, like shocked. I got to be honest, it came out of my mouth. I was shocked that I said it. But that was my answer when I took time to pause on it. Another case came in, a couple of financial cases, they went really well because people know that, listen, at this point, I don't need your business. I value it. It's not changing my life. I don't owe money on my house. I don't owe money on cars. I don't live an extravagant lifestyle anymore. My life is go to work, service people professionally, financially, service people coaching. I go to recovery meetings. I hang out with my buddies and I walk my dog and I work out. And I have my daughter 3 days a week, sometimes 4. So my life's pretty full. So it makes it a lot easier.
That's a real golden nugget that everyone could learn from. Because once you remove yourself, your ego from the equation, you really allow things to happen. And in the end, it's not about us, it's about serving others. You mentioned meditation and visualization. So, how much of an impact did it have in this scenario?
Visualization with me is a big thing. I'll give you a great example. When I was broke and I just got out of jail, a guy owned a gym and he said, I'll give you a free membership. It's $20 a month, but you don't have it. Just feel free to walk. I was sleeping in a basement of a townhouse I once owned, but it was in foreclosure. It was freezing. So I'd walk on the railroad tracks, listening to music to the gym. And one deep video would come up all the time. I Need a Doctor by Dr. Dre. I don't know if he's popular over there, but he used to be popular here. And in the video, he drove this Ferrari. And I used to just look at this Ferrari and say, someday I'm going to build a house. I'm going to pay it off. I'm going to buy this goddamn Ferrari. Fast forward, I build a house. I end up paying it off. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to set the same Ferrari. I'll put a little money each month aside. Out of the blue, I get a call from a guy. He's like, yeah, I heard you have a client of mine knew him. He said, I heard you like this Ferrari, California. I said, yeah, it's my dream car. And he said, I have one. I'll sell it to you. Give me whatever you want for it. I said, why? He said, I had 21 of these and I'm too old. I'm 80 years old. I can't get in them. My girlfriend's 60. She can't get in them. He said, do you want to buy one? And I said, I can't pay you what it's worth. He said, listen, I have a son. I gave him one last year. He sold it and bought drugs. I know you're in recovery from addiction. I would be honored to sell you this. Give me whatever you want. I looked it up. I said, I can't give you what it is. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't steal from you. The next day he called me. He said, if you don't buy it at this price, I'm going to put it on eBay or Facebook Market or whatever the hell it was. And he said, I'll sell for that price. I said, all right, I'll take it. The universe brought that car to me. Now, do I really care about the car anymore? I care about what it reminds me of. Hey, if you visualize anything, you can get it. I had visualized this house and I went to buy my house, to buy the land to build. The woman said to me, this land's sold, but you can buy this land to build on. I said, no, I want this land. I want to put a pool in the outlet. She said, well, it's already under agreement. I said, when it comes out from under agreement, call me. Here's my number. I have a good feeling about this. Mind you, I've been looking for a year. I mean, I stopped looking after that day. I got a call 2 weeks later. It didn't work out. I said, all right, I'll take it. I go to get a mortgage. Like, you were in jail 2 years. You can't get a mortgage. And sure enough, the guy came out of the woodwork. He said, I know somebody who can lend you the money. Build a house. Everything in my life has been visualization. When I step back and visualize myself going out and doing something big, and a lot of times I don't. Last night I gave a workshop to clients, potential clients. I didn't visualize. I went out, boom, boom, boom. Didn't get a single piece of business. But when I take time to pause, pray, and visualize, it was a lot different.
So is this also how you prepare when you're about to speak in front of the people?
Always. It should be. If I don't, let me tell you this, not always. Sometimes I rush it. I take back self-will. I think it's me that makes it happen and not God or the universe. I forget that it's not about me. And then I get where I got last night. I gave a presentation. Not one person booked an appointment. 0. Because I was running on self-will. I was upset about something. I was mad about something with somebody. I was fighting with people. I had a couple of pieces of turmoil going on. My home life, because I'm going through a divorce. My ex and my parents have some issues and some stuff that was done that really hurt. And I will tell you, it had me sidetracked and I didn't handle it well. I didn't stay in the moment. I was there when I was presenting. I was present, but I didn't ask God to be coming to the moment before. I didn't take time with the universe. I just rushed it. And that's not how I can live. I don't run well like that.
Hmm. I have a tricky question right now. If you could have one superpower to make your work even more impactful and fun, what would it be and how would you use it?
I'd like to be able to do one of two things. Either be at 2 places at one time, which probably wouldn't keep me too present, but it would allow me to get more. Or maybe I would like to if I could really let people see my heart. Like really, like you couldn't say anything that people might think, oh, he's nice and this and that, but they might in the back of your mind be like, is he saying it for this, this, and this? I almost wish I could just let people see my heart and be like, listen, I have enough money to retire. I have things I want. I got a beautiful daughter. I love this. I'm here because I want to be here. Like I would. A lot of clients do know that, but I wish they could really see, even though they know it, I wish they could see how much I care about them. Like how much I genuinely want to help them. Like I had a couple here the other day and they were just shocked. They said, you put in so much time with us. And I was like, I want you to succeed. And they were like, shocked, you know?
You've achieved a lot and you helped tons of people. What do you hope your legacy will be and how do you see your work continuing to impact others?
I hope my legacy has nothing to do with money. That's for damn sure. That's if it's about money, it's an empty ghost. I hope my legacy is this. It's funny. I always wanted to be like leaving this at a charity or make sure these people know this. And you want the truth? I want people to say he was a good guy. He was a good person. Like he was kind. He was empathetic. He stood up for people who were getting bullied and put the people in their place if they were fresh. He did the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. I want my daughter to know she's loved. My true legacy. I want her to be able to live okay on her own. My daughter has autism. I want her to be able to live on her own and do well and be successful and be good to other people. I want this place, I want somehow, and I don't care if my name's tied to it, but I want the world to be a better place because I was here.
Mhm.
Somebody's life to be better. Maybe I help an addict's mother not cry herself to sleep in it. I help one kid not die. I don't know. But something to that effect.
What guiding principles could person use to maintain this trajectory, and how can it apply to other parts of your life?
I think if you can develop a relationship with God or universe, whatever you want to call it, like there's something, the energy out there that it is. I think if you can develop a relationship with that and you really open and keep the door open, live by what you would do if God was seeing you, or if you have children, like if your kids were growing up and seeing how you were acting, live that way. I want to make my daughter proud. You know what I mean? I think when you live that way, whether it's by God or your child or some kind of principle like that, I think it allows you to do the right thing a lot more. Uh, If I live by anything like that, if I'm not being transparent about something or I'm holding secrets in or I'm just living dirty in any way, shape, or form, it just blocks me from the spirit of the sunlight. And it just, you don't feel that energy. You feel alone and iced up. And I've had that a lot lately. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been running a lot of anger, a lot of hate with my family and stuff. And things are filling me up. And then I realized I'm like, I got to pray for these people because I'm growing to hate
Yeah,
them. And that's not good. They're sick too. And when I started praying for them, I was like, they've just made some mistakes and maybe I can let it go someday.
yeah. It's like drinking poison and thinking it would poison your enemies.
That's what
And
resentment is, baby.
I like this analogy that if your life would be a movie, would you watch the movie to the end? Or would it be a movie full of things that you don't want to show other people? And one of the highest form of love, at least to me, is being authentic, true to
Yeah.
your core, that whatever happens, I can manage that, even if I done mistakes. Mistakes are part of the growing process. So if you grow, mistakes are bound to happen, because if you ask God for strength, does God gonna give you strength, or will he give you challenges that will make you to grow and be strong? I believe it's the latter. And I would like to ask you, what does faith mean to you?
It's funny. So I grew up Irish Catholic. Okay. And I believe some of that faith and I believe some of it's a little bit not accurate. So I don't really know. I believe faith is just thinking that there's something out there. I don't know if it's God, universe, some sort of loving energy. I believe there's something out there. And faith is it's saying there's something out there that's guiding things. And that if I'm doing the right thing, good things will happen. Even if I'm in hell, like, listen, I'm in the middle of a divorce. I got an ex who's torturing me. But I believe that if I keep living the right way, like the truth or the right thing will finally it'll work out. Yeah, faith to me is just thinking that living the right way equals right results.
I like to say that if you let go of your expectation, attachment, and cravings, and allow yourself to become a puppet in the hands of the God, you actually become puppeteer of your own destiny, and many doors will be open to you, and many opportunities will unfold. But once you achieve things and you have more and more and more, the problem is that might cause the ego to grow. You achieved all of that. How do you not take yourself seriously and still be very humble?
You learn the universe and God humbly. And I will tell you this. I did. I went through a phase. I remember at one point I had a struggle. I was going through it. When I went through struggles years ago, I was able to tap into God because I had nothing else. I had to go to God of the universe. I had to find the universe. I had to tap into it. I had nothing else. I read books. I took notes. I did. Last time I went through a tough time, you know what happened? I didn't have to go to the universe because I had money. I could distract myself. I could drive a car. I could go golf. I could do whatever. I could work more. And then it hit me. I'm like, I'm running. I'm letting Ryan run the show because I'm letting the outside stuff. If you let the outside stuff hold you and give you an ego, God, the universe has a funny way of getting you back to it. It'll say, okay, I'll take that away and I'll take that away and I'll take that away. But if you can just stay in touch with the universe, one, the outside stuff doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. I think
Two, oh, sorry.
I think God has planned for all of us. And sometimes our ego gets in the process, but still God expects us to be his actors. So he will first of all give you gentle nudges to move you to the place where you should be. But if you're not listening, the gentle nudges will be no more and it will be kicks to your butt. And he
Yeah,
will
I thought,
get you.
yeah, and that's just it. I always tell people, you're not going to beat God. You can beat anything else. You can defy anything else, but God at the ultimate will be the ultimate decider.
Yes, yes, that's true. I also believe that all of this, what surrounds us, we have co-created to a degree with soul and God. God and soul knows best what we need to experience. If you could go back in time and met the young Ryan who's anxious, full of fear, and is about to drink his first beer, what would you say to him?
The first beer, I probably wouldn't even have said anything because the first couple beers I had never impacted me. I never got there early on. So I would say this, and I think this would have stopped the alcohol from taking over. I would say this: it's all going to end up okay. It's going to be okay. Just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Because I drank out of fear. I drugged out of fear. I got sober out of fear of dying, running out of money, and being poor. And everything I did was out of fear. I fought people out of fear. I stabbed people out of fear. I ran from people who were going to stab me out of fear. Everything did was fear based. I was afraid of what you thought or what I thought. It was just fear, 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 fear. It was fear. I would just put my hand on his shoulder and just say, hey, you know what? It's going to be all right. And if I could have that deep breath, like when I go through stuff now, the last week and a half has been rough. I thought to myself, it's always been all right. Like I even remember being in jail, being like, sucks, but it's all right. And I got out, and even though I had no money, I was out of jail. It was all right. And then I made a little money. It was all right. And then I made a lot of money. It was all right. Then I made too much. It was not all right because I was lost in it. And then slowly things started getting removed out of my life, a divorce and all that. And I was like, it's all right. And I see my daughter, and I'm like, nothing's epic. If you would saw my life from ages, say, 15 to 35, you would have made a movie about it. Guy, successful, gets into finance, gets into better shape, meets night girls, hot girls, fast cars, fastest, boom, 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 falls, comes back. Now nobody's making a movie about my life. You know what? I go home from work, I make dinner now. I can afford to go out to eat every night. I don't. You know why? Because that's not living your life. And I realize after I make dinner, I sit there and I play with my dog a little. I do some journaling. I watch Seinfeld at night or something goofy, and I go to bed. It's not epic anymore, but it's nice. And nice is good.
Nothing lasts forever, but I also believe that everything happens for a reason. For example, I believe that you experience all of that mess in your life that you can confidently speak about it and coach other people not to do the same mistakes. So your mess became your message. And talking about the message, what would be the most crucial piece of advice you could offer for someone that is starting his business or looking to emulate your success?
Somebody's starting a business trying to emulate success. My answer is get guidance. Or get a mentor, get a coach, get somebody who's walked that path before. Because it's a different ball game. See, when I started, it was different back then. You could cold call people in my business. You would do this, you would do that. You could walk into a business and they become your client. It's a different world. Social media, technology, fast-paced marketing is so expensive. What you could run it for a business before on $2,000 a month is now 45, 50 grand a month. So it's not an easy game anymore.
You have a mentoring program for financial professionals. What are some of the key lessons you would like to impart that you had learned before?
Yeah, so I do coaching to financial, basically guys in sales, business guys, just men, usually in my age group or a little older. And my message is, you should have somebody guide you. And if that person's guiding you and you're not achieving your goals, then they're not doing the job. Myself included. If I guide somebody and all they're doing is making money, I failed you. But if you get in better shape, better health, better habits, you have more light inside you, that joy, then we're succeeding together. And nobody can do it for you, but nobody can really do it alone either. We're humans. We're pack animals. You know what I mean? We weren't meant to be lone wolves. And when people walk the path alone, I did that a long time. You know what it was? It was insecurity. I didn't want to. What if I relied on somebody? What if I went to God and it didn't work? Then I'm alone. Then I'm really screwed. At least if it's always an option, I could always do that. Do it if it doesn't work. And I tell people, you have to go to the last door on the block. You have to go as far as you can, and then you have to fall back into faith. And that's where it works.
It's all a process. So you mentioned that it's not being alone like a lonely island, but we are a wolf pack. What about if you could inspire a movement that would bring about significant positive change? What would it be, and how do you envision it making an impact?
I would like to start a brotherhood for guys that are in business or guys going through struggles. It doesn't have to be addiction. I mean, if you're an addict or alcoholic, there's AA, NA, and that's great. But there's no support group for guys that are just lost in business, need guidance, maybe in a career they don't love, going home to a marriage is empty, or they're not getting time with their kids. There's nobody there to say, hey, you know what, let's talk about this. What can we do to change? It's the same thing that was done in the 12-step program for me. I want to carry into a business world. And I believe you can. And I believe when you do that, it's going to have a positive impact because you're going to put people together. It's not just about me. It's about we. Like I tell people all the time, when some of my clients come together, I'm not always getting the answer. If I don't, we're going to get together and we're going to have a retreat. And one of these guys will have the answer. But somehow we're going to share some ideas and we're going to get there.
So the positive impact is about growing strong together.
Absolutely.
What about your current project or goals that are on horizon for you? And how does that align to the big mission you have of helping people and being remembered as a good person?
My current goals right now, I'm trying to start a charity to help kids. My daughter with the autism goes to a special school. It's very expensive. I'm trying to start a charity to help fund other families that can't afford to go there. That's a big thing with me. I try to do a lot with those homeless people who struggle with addiction, getting treatment. Anything that helps somebody, behind that saying, each one, reach back and pull somebody up. If you're having success, you don't have to save the world, but reach back. If you can change one life or one family's life, there's an impact. One less mother that cries herself to sleep because the kid's an addict or because the kid's a nonverbal autistic child. What a win that is. That's a legacy. Nobody needs to know.
Uh, Saving lives one at a time that are in your life. Eventually, if everyone would adapt that mindset, this would be heaven on earth.
It would, and I also know it's a lot easier. I'm not gonna pretend I know it's easier for me because I make a couple bucks. I'm not stupid. I do understand that point. It's hard when you're in it, but when you're in it, there's always somebody less fortunate. And I've learned that. Like when I'm in pain, I'm always this morning I was in pain. I called somebody I care about, and he's like, dude, good timing. He's like, I'm going through this, and this. And I listened to him for about a half hour. And you know what I felt? One, I love the guy. And two, my pain didn't bother me anymore. And it wasn't like that my pain was any less than his by any means, but it was just like I didn't care. I realized, you know what? Everybody goes through stuff.
And I also do believe that we carry some beliefs that we think might serve us, but on the long enough timeline, the beliefs will become glorified restrictions because we will outgrow them.
Yeah, I really believe that if you cling to your beliefs and your thoughts, then you're locked that you don't grow. And I really believe that we need to really grow and evolve and not cling to anything. And it's so hard because it's scary. If I let go of this, who am I? Right? Like I remember when I
Yeah.
stopped trying to show off with money and stuff, and I was like, now who am I? I'm just some 40-something-year-old guy who's doesn't have as much hair as he used to. He's going through divorce. And then I found like a whole new pack of people in my life that were really good people. And I thought, holy shit, that's who I am.
Our material gains, our thoughts, our emotions doesn't define us. We are something so much deeper. And sometimes we got too much caught in the process that we're not able to see that you found yourself. Do you have any last advices for people that are still struggling to see who they truly are?
Don't do it alone. Don't go it alone. Reach out to me, reach out to someone else. It's not about necessarily having to hire somebody as a coach, but if you're in pain, any good human being, if you reach out to somebody and say, yeah, I'll give you an hour and then you got to pay me this, tell them to go F themselves. If you're in pain, you reach out to them and say, I'm in pain. Can we just talk? And like most of us, I can't speak for everybody, take time and they'll say, yeah, you know what, I've been there. Or talk to you. And if they don't have the answers, they'll guide you somewhere. Don't go it alone.
If people listening to this and your message resonates with them, how can they find more about your work and how can they connect to you?
So we have a site called Cracking the Code with RyanSkinner.com. And there's an Instagram as well, Cracking the Code with RyanSkinner.com. And my job is to help guys going through turmoil, guys going through guys that have business and just want peace of mind or be in better shape, to help them crack the code to get more into flow state so they can consistently feel like they're relaxing, going down the stream of life and not swimming upstream.
Mm. I love that message. It's not about fighting yourself, it's about loving yourself and embracing who you are. Thank you so much for being a guest on my show. It was a pleasure. And thank you
Thank
all
you for
for
having me.
listening. It was
Thanks
fun.
so much. That was great, bro. Thank you so much.